This is Rob Tebbutt for ID Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Conor Benn. We're here at the Matchroom Gym in Essex. Conor, always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just ready to get in there and do the business now.
Ready to get in there and do the business. But before then, you've got several interviews to do, I'd imagine, before you fight Chris Eubank Jr. next week. I'll try and keep it nice and fresh for you. I know it's been a busy day for you. Just mentioned to you briefly off camera there, it's been a while, but we've been doing interviews with you for a number of years. I remember sitting down with you and talking about your early days of starting boxing in Australia. Could you ever imagine that you'd end up here where we are?
No, when I left Australia, most definitely not. I mean, but then obviously I did, because you know what I noticed? I made a Twitter account when I lived in Spain still, so I didn't even move to Australia. I put up, I don't know why I put it out, it's my only post on that account, and it's, I will be the next world champion. And this was like, what, 15 years ago maybe, around then. So it's like, maybe I always did envision it.
Still got the Twitter account active? What's the
Still
handle?
there, Conor Nigel Benn.
We look forward. We'll have a look at that. We're going to jump straight into it. Obviously, a lot of talk is around the weight, so let's just go straight into that, and then we can kind of move on to some more interesting bits. I want to know, conditioning-wise for this camp, you're not making 147. How does that change the work that you've been doing with your conditioning team in preparation?
I'm also changing up the nutrition, the S&C, the runs. We're changing it up. At the end of the day, I'm not a power lifter. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not a professional runner or sprinter. It all needs to contribute to me being the best fighter I can be, and that's what we've done. You know, so we've had to change things around, keep some things the same, and watching my times and maintaining the same times as I would in previous camps, with it being a stone heavier.
I'm always looking forward to seeing Tony Sims, your trainer. He's not here today, which is a great shame. But talk to us about the influence of him. I mean, I've spoken to him in the past about the work that you've done specifically on your jab. Talk to us about the influence of him in the gym and what you've been working on with Tony for this fight.
Listen, we build and build and build every single camp. Even when we're not working on something for a specific fight, we're still working on developing in that area that I may show weakness, that my trainer believes I need to work on. But I won't be worrying about Tony. That goes without question. I think when you sum up Tony as a trainer, you sum up my career. You know, it's very rare you take a fighter from where I started to where I am now so drastically, so quickly. Well, you say quickly, 7 years. It's still quite quick considering I didn't really have any amateurs. So my career sums up Tony as a trainer, and I believe I fit in Tony's training method so perfectly. It's almost as if Tony's made to train me. That's how it feels.
Always like to come in here and have a look, and I'm glad that he's kept it in this gym from the old gym as well. The combination wall. What one of those combinations is your favourite one?
I don't know, because I've knocked people out of a few of the combinations. The Zao, the double Zao.
What's that one off the top of your head? You remember it off the top of your head?
Yeah, jab, right hand to the body, left hook upstairs, and the double Zaos, jab, right hand body, left hook to the head. And then there's obviously legends on the board that I could probably do off straight away.
Maybe get the Conor Benn up there one day.
So I don't know what combination that'd be.
Let's talk about the fight. It's important in this fight to go back before you can go forward. I want to know about when you were growing up and knowing who your dad was, and what was the Eubank name? What was that like around your house? Was it discussed? Was it something you thought about?
My dad was just my dad at home, man. It wasn't even discussed. My dad was just my dad at home. There wasn't anything there. My dad was just my dad, and I thought the way I was living was just a normal way of living. But it's only as I got older I realised that my dad's a legend in the sport of boxing. And when I watched the fights myself, I've never watched the fights back with my dad, ever. Any of my dad's fights, we've never watched back together.
What about your ring walk? Now, in the past, you've had Ready or Not. I know you've come up to Dangerous as well, which is sort of a hat tip to your old man. That's what he came out in the first fight to this, Dangerous. That a brilliant ring watching. What you got planned for fight night?
Nothing changes. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Good point.
It's a very good point. You know, that's my view on it.
Eubank. So what have you made of the recent antics? He's eating KFC, he's eating cake, is this, that and the other? What's that done for you?
I don't know. What's it done for you?
Made me hungry, to be honest with you, but I'm not an elite athlete like you.
Fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's actually a fair point. That's quite quick from you, mate.
Appreciate it,
Yeah,
Conor.
but no, I mean, it does nothing apart from make him look silly if he misses the weight. It looks unprofessional, especially when his dad's coming out saying, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, and his son's doing that. It's like, it's not the front I want. It's not the, my team are so united in the decisions we make and everything we do. It's professionalism and elite performance all round. So, I don't know, it makes no difference to me. Apart from, it makes him look a bit silly, I think.
Aside from the physical side of things with the weight and the size everybody's talking about, do you rate him as a fighter? If so, what does he do well?
Listen, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He knows his way around the ring. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's ferocious. And that to me screams like an exciting fighter.
You're always sparring heavier guys in the gym, even in the past when you're making 147. It's a bit different this time, having the extra weight on sparring your John Riders. I know you've been sparring Linus Adofia as well.
Sparring Linus, Brad Pauls, Felix Cash, George Liddard, Jimmy Sains, John Ryder. Sparring with the big boys. Yeah, it's challenging, but I love a challenge. I thrive off that challenge. I mean, yeah, it's challenging, man. It's like you got to do things differently. Not you do the same, but you do them differently. If you know what I mean. I ain't changing what I'm about and what I do and my attributes, but you maneuver different.
Everybody's talking about family legacy, the Eubank versus Benn rivalry. You mentioned there at the start that tweet from years ago about wanting to be a world champion. If I could give you one option, you can only take one: world title or beat Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, it's got to be beat Eubank Jr. I mean, you got to remember this name's been mentioned to me from the start of my career. Before I was even pro, man. Even when I was an amateur, people going, imagine if you and Eubanks fought. Imagine if this or imagine if that. It's always imagine because it does capture your imagination. Is it realistic? Was it realistic? No. I made it realistic, because I closed the gap. I worked hard. And, you look at my trajectory and look at his. Who needs who more? You got to remember when he was pro, I wasn't even a pro fighter when he was fighting for the British title. So, yeah.
Last quick couple from me. Appreciate your time. I know you're very, very busy. Your son, Eli, how's it like boxing now? You're a father. You've got something to provide for at home. Must give you such an impetus and such a boost.
No, I don't. My son's blessed either way. When you're talking about provision, either way I would have provided. It's not. He just makes me want to be a better man. He's taught me patience. He's taught me about the way I am, who I am as a man. It never mattered to me about my dad's career. I couldn't care less about my dad's career. To me it was, I needed a good dad, which my dad was, but that was what I needed. So I just need to be a good dad to my son. Irrelevant of the boxing and everything else, is being a good dad to my son. That's a priority to me.
Okay, and last one from me. I'm going to give the floor to you ahead of your big moment against Chris Eubank Jr. next weekend. I want you to look into that camera there. I want you to tell everybody watching how the fight ends. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, October the 8th.
The fight ends the way I want it to end. I believe I get the knockout early doors.
There we have it. Conor Benn, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to ID Boxing. I look forward to seeing you in the ring next weekend live at the O2.
Pleasure.